Hi, it's Ronnie, and welcome to May I Scraplift You, created by Crystal Barrett and month-long hop with all kinds of inspiration. This is a layout I plan to scraplift today, and it's by M.K. Gunn. And it was a two-page layout. However, I'm only going to do the left side. I'm going to scraplift the two pictures of my youngest grandsons, and I'm going to use several dies because y'all know how much I like dies. And that one's a quick cuts die. It's a pretty old one and it's arrows. And I thought, well, they're climbing a tree. I need a big arrow. So yeah, I pulled that one out. I'm using Cartabella Summer Camp. And mostly I'm going to be using scraps, but I needed one more piece of paper and I had to cut into 12 by 12. The background is Craft Consortium from the Wood Grain collection. And I picked it because it was lighter. I wanted something lighter to put these dark papers on. Now, I goofed right off the bat. Y'all may have noticed I started to tear my paper. Then I thought, no, MK used her distress tool. There's plenty of times that I've seen her do it. And for some reason, I thought that's what she did with these papers. No, she tore them. But, I used the distress tool because I didn't look back over the layout. I think I have more papers than her. Well, I know I do. But I had the scraps and I thought, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and work them in. So that's what I'm doing. I cut that one down, but I wanted it in there because it was a lighter color and it had some flowers and it kind of reminded me of a walk in the woods. And basically, that's what they're doing in the photos. The- it's a trail that you can take in one of the parks. And they played on the playground equipment, and I guess they decided to take a walk. My son is with them. He is actually in the picture with them. You can't tell it hardly because all you can see is the toe of his shoe, but he is the one taking the picture. And um, it's a little ways away from the playground equipment, and you have to take a walk. And if you could see the photo pretty good, little Malachi's cheeks are kind of on the rosy red side because it was quite a little walk from him for him. He got carried some, but it's still quite a little bit of a walk. I pulled out my slimline die, and this is the burlap one, and I thought I'd kind of tuck it underneath the papers, and I'm going to use two, and there will be a little bit left, but I figure I'll figure out something to use it for later, and it won't go to waste. But I am using the outside edges, and I forgot to ruffle that one, but I guess it's okay. Well, I could ruffle it right now, couldn't I? So I ruffled it. Um, this there's this die set and it's Little B, I believe is what it's called. I love the way they packaged it. It does have a magnet with it, and so the dies stay pretty much in order there. This is the net one, and I cut three pieces out of it, three pieces of paper, and of course they were scraps. And I cut the lightest one for the net. Sometimes I use the burlap like I did, well, craft paper like I did for the burlap. But this time I thought I'd make it a lighter color. And then I used some gray for the metal part. And of course, a little tiny piece of the wood grain for the handle. And uh, MK has like a cluster there on the right, and it has her title included. She used wood veneer as her title. My title is going to be an empty space over at the left since I am not going to have my title there. I am going to have a word there, but I'm not going to have my title. And I'm just assembling some bugs here. This one is a dragonfly, and of course, when you look at a dragonfly, their leaves look translucent, and so I used some vellum, and then I was inking it with, well, it was an iris color, so it's a very light lavender. I had a dark blue, or of course teal. The little ink pad looked like I had a teal. It looked like I had peacock feathers, but I rubbed it off on a piece of paper and it was where it wasn't inking too much. And then I used that iris color for the leaves. And this one is the ladybug, so I cut it out twice and I did the red and then I cut the head and legs all off of it. And I'm putting it on top of the black so that the little legs and antennas stick out. And then I'm just taking my little smash pen and putting dots on the back of the ladybug. And this one is a caterpillar, and I know around here there's lots of bright green ones, and so I wanted to make it bright green, but I inked the edges of it. And oh, and there's my arrow from the quick cuts, and it is a true 12 inch. I mean, it goes from one end to the other. The other two are a little shorter, but I thought I'd go for the big long one this time. I got a frame out of the ephemera. I got two out, and I wasn't sure which one I'd be wanting to use, and I decided to go ahead and use the smaller one. And I'm inking the edges just because they're showing up pretty white. And I'm going to put it as part of my cluster. I think she has some wood veneer there where I'm using that. And then I'm going to, I am putting in, well, it's part of the dies in that collection are Elizabeth crafts. I'm not sure what the other part is, but I know some of them are. And this one looks like a chain, so I kind of tucked it in there with it. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my cluster around that. I pulled two stickers out, and it says Explorer and Nature. I will end up switching them later, but see how I put the nature first and change my mind? Well, I'm going to put it back the other way. I kept looking at it and looking at it and thinking, I need to have it the other way so it'll say Nature Explorer. Whereas I was thinking I'd like the red on top and wasn't reading the words. But yeah, I'm going to get to turning it around in just a little bit. The die that I showed with the greenery is Spring Garden, Spring Greenery, and I think it's a Tim Holtz one. I did cut it out in two different colors, one lighter, one darker, and I inked them all. Well, everything in that tray that you've probably seen earlier is inked. I This was a piece of ephemera and it says Adventures, and so I'm using it in that cluster. MK didn't have a cluster up there on the left, but y'all know I like more, so that's why I have it up there. And I will have one more, well, maybe two, because if you count the frog there, it will be two more clusters. But I'm going to tuck his little foot in, thinking I like that. But sitting here and watching the video, I changed my mind and I will pull it out. You won't see it in the pictures. You'll just have to take my word for it that I pulled his little foot out. But I did, when I tucked the foot in, I didn't have the little flower and greenery with it. And once I put the flower and greenery, I think I changed my mind about the tucking because I kept looking at it and it kept bugging me. And yeah, I pulled his foot out. You seen me back that little piece of, well, I think it says hike. I really wanted to use that on my layout because it was hiking and they did have to hike to this tree. Well, it wasn't much of a hike, but it's still a hike. I mean, it probably took them 5 minutes or more around there to get there, but instead of, an hour or two, 5 minutes. And I wanted it on there, but I just couldn't figure out a place to use it. So it is not going to make it on there, even though I backed it and everything just to make it sturdier so I could put foam tape under it. Uh, my little caterpillar is gonna be crawling out from behind the word explorer. Well, it'll be nature that it's gonna be crawling out from behind by the time I get done with it. But my frog, I thought I'd kind of have it go up over the bottom of that one photo. It doesn't have anything there, and I thought it'd be cute. The other picture, the one down there on the bottom, it does have something in the bottom right hand corner. And it is Malachi. You can barely see him down there, that little bit of green. I know my hand keeps getting in the way. So sorry. But I had to print that photo 4 times before I could get it where it wouldn't cut him off. Yeah, it was kind of on the aggravating side, but I finally got it done. However, my son's foot, it was showing a lot more than that little teeny tiny bit that's showing now. And I just decided I wasn't even going to worry about it. Although I would have liked to have it there so you could tell he was actually there. Um, my title's going to be just go climb a tree, and I'm putting it over there in the empty spot on the left since it is kind of big. And well, I wanted it big, and I used the scrapbook.com um, typewriter, and I got that for Mother's Day from my son. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just well, it's 3 sets I got, but this is the one I couldn't wait to use, so it made it on the layout first. I used my EK Success little flower punch, and I punched out some flowers. Then I inked them in the wild honey, and I used vanilla cardstock for it because of the fact of that one piece of paper being a vanilla color with the flowers on there. And I'm just going to kind of tuck them here and there. And I think that's it. That's the last part of what I'm doing on the layout. I don't think I do anything. Oh, yes, I do. I think I'm done. And I noticed the dragonfly is still sitting over there and I haven't put it on there. And I really want it on the layout. So it is going to get added after the flowers. I said cuts and embosses. And so the little wings are embossed. Um, the frog doesn't go with that set. I have it in the set, but it doesn't go with the set. I thought I'd keep all my bugs and stuff together. Of course, frog isn't actually a bug, but I thought I'd put it in there because it was a freebie from Gina Marie Designs, and it wasn't in any packaging, so I stuck it in there. She just kind of taped it to the outside of one of the things that I got. But I think this makes 2 layouts you all are going to actually see in a row that have bugs. Yeah, yeah. You'll think I'm on a bug kick, right? But kids are fascinated with bugs. Either that or they're scared of them. My grandkids are fascinated with them. They're always checking them out, catching them, and yeah, they're a big part of their outside adventures. There's a little dragonfly with the embossed part, and there's my cluster to the right, uh, the one that would have had a title if I had been putting a title there. I did put adventures there though. But MK's cute cluster there is what made me want to use this layout as my scrap lift. I had a really hard time picking. There was plenty to choose from that I liked. But make sure you check out all the links down there below and see what everybody else has done for today, who they chose to scrap lift, and their take on the scrap lift. And try MK's out. You could, if you're a 2-pager, she's got a second one that goes with this. But I hope y'all have a happy, scrappy week. Bye.